everyone, and welcome back to Board Game Geek's continuing coverage of the Origins Game Fair 2019. I am joined again by Jonathan and Logan from Panda Cult Games, and I am super excited to talk to you about this because this is a game that I first saw in your booth this time at Origins last year. I've been anticipating it, and it is now finally available.
Yes.
Yes, the Cult of Barnacle Bay. Which, even better. If you want to, sure.
Yes.
If you want the people at home to see it, sure. All right, so let me put this aside. Tell me about the game.
So, Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay, a quick elevator story. Barnacle Bay was once a peaceful fishing village until the evil cult leader Elder Bane took over the town. He's used his dark magic to corrupt the inhabitants of the city. The once peaceful otter fishermen are now these crab-armed, crazed otter grunts.
It happens.
We've got tentacle bunny zealots, fish bat casters, and worst of all, the crowd favorite, the berserking bear sharks. We are playing as heroes from the Wanderers Guild, working together to save Barnacle Bay. This 1 to 5 player, completely cooperative dungeon crawler with a choose your own adventure campaign book with 24 scenarios already loaded into the core box.
I picked up the campaign book, and this thing is almost like a small town's phone book. It's so hefty.
And there's branching story arcs depending each scenario you play. There's multiple choices of where you go depending on how you want to resolve the story, allowing you to play the campaign several times over before you've seen everything.
That is really cool.
Also within the game, a big selling point is there's over 100-something item cards. None of them are duplicates.
Oh, cool.
So every time you get a piece of gear, it's a unique piece of gear.
Nice.
You find the magic fishing boots. It's the only magic fishing boots in the game.
Cool.
You find the flaming sword of flames. It's the only one in the game. So every time you play, it's going to be unique experiences, unique gear. This right here is the intro scenario we also use for a demo. The Wanderers are trying to find their way to the underground cultist den. The problem is over here underground, and you cannot move from an above ground tile to an underground tile. So we're going to have to take care of these enemies above ground, get to this ladder token, which would actually make us flip this tile over to go below ground, which will make it connect to the other underground tiles. Moving along, these dark squares on the board are Elder Bane's darkness tiles. He's shredding the city in darkness. You can't see through them until you enter them. So it can be used for your advantage or disadvantage. Like these range bunnies down here can't see us right now because the darkness is in the way.
They block line of sight as well.
You started the game 2 actions per turn. So for example, Tank here is going to spend 1 action to move, which would be 1, 2. You move 2 spaces per 1 action.
Is it orthogonal only, no diagonal?
Yeah, no diagonals.
No diagonal, okay.
Then Tank can take his second action to attack. He has his hammer over there, if you want to grab his item card. Tank has his hammer, which shows 3, meaning that's how many dice he rolls. So you roll 3 dice. You got 2 and a critical. Crits always explode in this game. So nice. An additional die. Unfortunately, you didn't get any more. But you got 3 successes. The grunts have automatic defense. All enemies in the game are fully automated. You never roll for your enemies. The only dice you ever roll in this game are your dice. I've always had an issue with cooperative games where you feel like you're rolling against your friends. It kind of broke the immersion of us having to work together.
That makes sense.
So and this keeps the game very fast-paced where no one's having to roll for the enemies. So he would automatically block that 1 damage because he has a defense of 1, and now I've dealt 2 damage to him. And then next on the initiative board that we have over here, it would be Kira, the squirrel thief, would end up going. She could say she's going to jump into the darkness, not sure what's inside, and she found some treasure.
Ooh, congratulations.
So if you want to grab me one of those treasure cards, see what she got.
There you go.
She found the Tidal Blast spell, which is a really powerful spell. Even though she is a thief, she can perfectly use a big magical spell, even though she's not a wizard.
Are there any class restrictions?
No.
Nice.
So I've played Ibexus the Goat Wizard with a giant 2-handed hammer. No problem. It's just the warrior can use it better.
Yes.
So the spell is super powerful, but the wizard gets more benefits using it.
That's really I like that.
So she would get that, and then. The way range attacks work is range as far as you can see in a straight line. And you would roll dice the same way, but you're looking for range symbols instead. Moving along, let's say Ibexus came traveling on, checked out this darkness. He found an event symbol. You grab an event from the top of the deck. I'm going to find one of my favorite ones. Found Lady of the Puddle. You see a siren looking back at you through a magical puddle. You check knowledge. Ibexus is actually a pretty smart character. He's got a knowledge of 4. He'd roll his knowledge check, needing axes. rolled a lot of criticals. He's thinking really hard about it because those just keep exploding. Okay. But for you would check your successes against the card. So 3+, you attempt to communicate with her. She is pleased. She gives you a treasure. If I would have rolled poorly, however, it says you draw your weapons and attempt to attack the puddle. It turns into a geyser of water, launching you into the air. You suffer 1 wound and take knockdown.
Oh.
What's interesting about the events, there's over 70 event cards in the core game, allowing you to go through an entire campaign, never encountering the same event twice.
Nice, okay.
So, creating its own unique story as you're playing it. Like, I'm never going to run into the Lady of the Puddle again.
There's enough of them that you can go through the whole thing, no repeats.
Yeah, and we actually prefer playing whenever we play, we discard the event, put it into the box into its different area, so it creates its own story of its own personal evolving story.
That's a really nice approach to that. That's cool.
Fast forwarding a bit, we take care of a bunch of enemies, we beat up a bunch of bad guys. Every time we defeat an enemy, we're going to get XP on our dashboards. Let me slide this over a bit. We get XP on our dashboards. Trying to figure out where I can see. There we go. The dashboard, once you get to level 2, you would get now plus extra actions around. Each player has multiple choices of what they can do when they level up, and these are different abilities. When you get to level up, though, it's causing more enemies to show up on the board. Instead of enemies showing up constantly, whenever you cause enough ruckus, you have one big spawn happen.
Okay.
And then also, since you're the first hero to break through a threshold, leveling up, the rest of your party goes, yay, and everyone else gets 1 XP.
Oh, cool.
Everyone else keeping up with you.
Share the wealth.
Yes. Yep. So you'd flip over a spawn card, which would show where the enemies would show up on and how it would keep going. And then once we take care of all the bad guys, we got through the event, we got some treasure, beating things up, traveling along, encountering ladies of the puddles and magic fishing boots. We would actually get to the ladder token and flip the tile over to go underground, which would actually connect to any other underground tile in the encounter. This is just the intro scenario. It's very small, just 1 tile, but other scenarios, if you saw in the campaign book, you'd be going up below ground in one area, coming above ground in a different tile, giving this whole adventure of going above and below ground, back and forth.
Okay.
Once you reach the end of the campaign mission, for example, off the top of my head, you'd be chosen with a couple options. For example, it could say, the Wanderers found the entrance to the Culture's Den. There's some strange sounds coming to the left. There's a ladder up ahead and a passageway to the right. Which way did they go? That chooses which mission you play next.
Completely branches off from there.
Yes. Yep.
It's not like you're going to still play scenario 2 with just some different setup. No. You're completely different scenario.
Completely different scenario, and it has a completely different story arc, and it just keeps building on itself. All the equipment you gather in one scenario carries over to the next one. So if you look at a dashboard, let's bring Kira back here, for example. This side of the board is your long-term progression, short-term progression, allowing you to carry over a whole campaign. It's a lot of fun, a lot of content, as we talked about, and we've worked so hard on this. It's been a big dream project for 3 years, and it's finally available here.
Yep. That is fantastic to hear. And what's the price point for it?
It is a $100 big box board game with probably double the content of many other big swaps.
I would tend to agree. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. I think I almost threw my back out lifting the box. So, thank you guys for sharing this game with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, and thank you guys for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.